right, YouTube. This Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit. It's Tuesday morning, the 2nd. Now, I haven't did a podcast since Friday, you know. So it's been a long weekend for me as far as doing a podcast. I usually try to do them every day or a couple times a day, but with the channel is not supported enough to where you can really maintain a consistent schedule of doing your podcast. So, you know, you really got to get to it when you can get to it. But what I want to talk about today on this Tuesday morning is Easter. You know, Joe Biden, the Democratic president, announced that Easter Sunday will be shared with Trans Visibility Day, Transgender Visibility Day. Now, American has always considered itself a Christian nation. That's what they consider themselves. Now, in the world of Christendom, Easter is their most sacred day. You know what I mean? Then the next, and the holiday would be Christmas. Why would a Catholic, a so-called Catholic president base his whole policy on abortion and transgenderism? Think about that. And then they want to act like the Christians should not have been offended. You know, I remember when I was a kid. Every Easter, I'd ask my parents to go to church with my grandfather. My grandfather went to a large church in Detroit, and he was a deacon, and his friends that he had worked with at General Motors, their grandsons was deacons, and we would go to Sunday school, and you know what I mean? And all of us that went to Sunday school, we got baptized on Easter Sundays. You know what I mean? That was tradition. So when they start saying that black people are not conservative, we've always been conservative until the liberals start shoving their brand of liberalism into our community. And they did that through empowering the women folk. You know what I'm saying? And they used the church to be complicit. So they saying they got a problem with Donald Trump saying that Joe Biden, what he did is an attack on Christians. It is. It's an offense and it's an attack to devout Christians. Not you ones that go to church, that cheat on your husbands and wives and steal and do, not you Christians, the ones who actually uphold the tenets of their faith. That was very insulting. And all the inclusion statements in the world is not enough to make us that delusional. You know how they always say that people is included in segregating, and segregation is over. All those things are lies. And a propaganda that the Democratic Party uses to sway the votes from those who are ignorant and have never read books to understand what it is that they're seeing. You know, this is going to be one of the dirtiest campaigns in the history of America, because when you look at Joe Biden, you can tell he's not even the one running the country. This is weird, because everything they accuse Donald Trump of, the Democratic Party is doing. And like they keep saying, a threat to democracy, this is no democracy. The democracy that they're selling you is a falsehood. It doesn't exist. This is a constitutional republic that the Democrats are trying to destroy. They're trying to destroy the tenets of the Constitution, and they are the biggest people promoting the division. The transgender community makes up 1% of this total population. And even if it was a visibility day that coincided with Easter, The president wanted to come out there and throw it in your face. You know what I mean? Because he's a part of that Epstein, Diddy, type of situation. You know what I mean? They are engaged in a lot of Satanism. For real, for real. You don't want to believe it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of you are caught up in it. A lot of you think y'all worshiping God, but y'all really worshiping Satan, and you know it. Because you can look and have this. You can have one of these. You can have a Bible and know what it says and call yourself a Christian and do everything against it. That is not only a hypocrite, that is a person who is anti-God. And they telling the public, the uninformed public, all kind of crazy things. And they walk away with them, believing it, because they have demonized the conservatives so much, because the conservatives want a little rules. The conservatives don't want their kids coming home with a different identity. These people is messing with y'all kids. They messing with y'all religion. They say that unemployment is down. You know why they say that? It's because the people who needed unemployment, they cut their benefits. So on paper, unemployment is down. But in your community, you know it ain't so. And you still want to talk about the Democratic Party. So we finna watch Al Sharpton, this ex-FBI informant, this same guy that's been selling out the black community for the last 40 years straight, being a Democratic shield. And he's going to come out and defend the Democratic Party and they Easter revelations. Now, Reverend Al Sharpton, come on now. This is for fair usage under the 1976 Copyright Act for commentary and educational purposes. Check out this debauchery.
Welcome back to Politics Nation. Let's bring in tonight's political panel former Republican Congressman Dave Jolly of Florida and Michael Hardaway, former staffer to House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and Senator Dick Durbin. David, let's start with you. President Biden is being criticized by some on the right for recognizing today as both Easter Sunday and Transgender Day of Visibility. The Trump campaign called on the White House to issue an apology. The Trump camp also criticized the Biden White House for not allowing overtly religious egg designs for the Easter art event, which Politico points out it has been that way under every president since 1976, including under Donald Trump. How?
Al Sharpton says he's a reverend. I'm not going to call him Reverend Al Sharpton. I'm going to call him Al Sharpton. I would not dignify him with any titles of reverence. He says that they don't want the kids to design Christian art on their eggs and drawings, but Easter is a totally Christian holiday. Make that make sense. Easter is a religious holiday. They gave more respect to the Muslims during Ramadan than they ever will give to the Christian populace in this country. But he acts like he don't know that. Continue to watch.
Republican Speaker Mike Johnson joined in on social media, calling Biden's decision, quote, outrageous and abhorrent. Why are Republicans choosing this battle as a way to take on the president?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure, Rev, to be honest. I mean, there's a little bit of dirty political pool here, but I think we got to hit it head on and suggest to President Trump and Mike Johnson and Senator Blackburn and others who are relying on the words of their Christ and their Jesus they celebrate today to condemn Joe Biden, to suggest to them that actually the Jesus they celebrate today would be inclusive of the transgender community and would be supportive of the...
Did you just hear that? He said that Jesus, these Democrats lie so much. He said that Jesus would be supportive of the transgender community when the law of Moses said it is forbidden and an abomination to God for a man to lay with another man as he would a woman, and for a woman to lay with another woman as it would a man, as a man. That is the law of Moses, and Jesus reiterated that. So what would make him get in front of American people and say Jesus would be inclusive of the transgender community? They play in your face and y'all so ignorant to buy that and don't see that y'all are voting for some demons. He just said that. This is one of your politicians said Jesus would be inclusive of the transgender community, as if they don't got a Bible. What Jesus said about that is clear. What Moses said about that is clear. And then they talk about dirty politics. I don't see no politics more dirty than how they are playing the black church, because we're the ones that's accepting it. It's not, you got them fringe white churches that'll go for something like this in the name of Christianity, but they really pushing it down our throat. For him to say that, think about that, what he said about Jesus. Jesus would be inclusive with the transgender, really? So you must be trying to tell somebody who's never read a Bible that. But let's continue.
Transgender community and command all Christians, including Donald Trump, Mike Johnson, and others who celebrate today, that in fact they should love the transgender community as they love their own God. I am not sure the theology upon which they rely to criticize Joe Biden. I would say politically it's stupid because among the 5 to 10% of actual persuadable voters, part of their concern about today's Republican Party is exactly this behavior. Why would you use time politically, if you are Republicans, to celebrate that you want to condemn and exclude fellow Americans, that you do not want to provide equity and equality to?
You see how they twist the narrative? If you're a Christian, I'm sure you would want to uphold the tenets of your religion. If you're a Muslim, I'm sure you would want to uphold the tenets of the Quran. These people want to come to you and tell you that in holding the tenets to your faith, that you're doing something wrong. While they pushing a narrative that is totally anti-Christian and totally anti-country. These people are playing in your face, opening your borders, flooding your community with immigrants from Venezuela and Haiti and all over the world, from every prison in the world. Do you know that they really are fulfilling Revelations? Because the United States is becoming like Babylon, a cage of every unclean bird and foul spirit, especially since all the other countries around the world are releasing their criminals and people from their insane asylums and sending them over here. And you have a president that doesn't understand what the Bible says, but yet he's a Catholic and runs on the basis of being Christian, but he does everything every day to undermine the unity and sanctity of the church, the religion, and the country. But he has a bunker to go to. Read between the lines. He wants to open the world up to his debauchery as if people are not going to push back. And what does the pushback look like? He's creating a perfect storm to implement some type of martial law or something that will annihilate a large sector of the populace. Because the more, I watch these politics and I look at them every day. And I see that the more the conservative people stand down and don't get as belligerent as the Democrats get, they get more emboldened. But one thing about the Democratic Party, that's where all the weaklings are. That's where all the freaks are. You know what I mean? That's where all the hypocrites and backsliders are. They're not gonna stand a chance if they get into it with real patriots. They know that. And they're not gonna have anywhere to run or any protection from the immigrant invasion. This is the condition that your president is putting for you. He putting you in. He's emboldening you, knowing you can't defend yourself, and he won't either. But let's listen.
To all people, because that is essentially the message that was received by millions of Americans today. And I think it's wrong theologically, it's wrong morally, and it's absolutely stupid politically.
Michael, this day of awareness for trans Americans has been recognized since 2010. And the last time it overlapped with Easter was in 2013. So this is not new. The White House Deputy Press Secretary Andrew Bates responded to Republicans saying, quote, "It's unsurprising politicians are seeking to divide and weaken our country with cruel, hateful, and dishonest rhetoric. President Biden will never abuse his faith for political purposes or for profit," unquote. Now, that's in referring to Trump selling his $60 Bibles. What's the best strategy in your judgment for the Biden camp to counter these exaggerated culture war scandals, which seem to crop up on almost a daily basis?
Well, you can't fall for the right.
If you can sit up and not look at them and tell that they are habitual liars, they done got so bad at they lying that they lie to you with a straight face and so much conviction. You know what I mean? They almost look sincere when they tell you he's the most divisive, evil president that's ever been in the White House since the time of slavery days. Think about how he talks to you. They're gonna put you back in chains. You turn the kids in the jungle, but yet he's pushing the most liberal, far left agendas you could ever see, and he's pushing them down your throat every day. And he keeps sending these attack dogs out and giving them money, you know what I mean, to lie to you. And you go to work every day and you buy your nice things and you participate. You willingly participate in this sacrilegious, debaucherous administration. But I also read in the scripture, they said that when the people are wicked, God punished them with a wicked president, or a wicked king, or a wicked leader. That's in the scripture. That's how you could tell that the populace or the citizens, they have became so wicked and sinful that their leaders have become a punishment to them. Just think of the leader, Fannie Willis down in Fulton County. She's still talking about prosecuting a ex-sitting president while over 19 people have died in her jail in under a year with no answers, no convictions, no nothing. But 19 lives is less important than her pushing a political agenda that the Democrats set her on. It's crazy. You can't make it up.
Hearing, which is clearly what this is. House Republicans and Speaker Johnson have no record to run on. They presided over a disaster over the past year or so. You have constant threat of government shutdown. And on the other side, Donald Trump is facing 90-plus indictments across multiple states. He's got a litany of crimes he's addressing. And so this is simply designed to change that.
That's called lawfare. And I'm going to tell you, as a black American, when I look at these bootlicks on the Democratic Party, I see them clearly. I could say things most white Americans can't say to them. They are the bootlicks. They are the sellouts. They are the house slaves. They refuse to think freely and lead a Democratic plantation because they get a few extra biscuits. They selling the whole country out. For real. And if you can't see it, it's only because you don't want to, and you don't want to have to stand up for nothing. So you're going to be like the sheep. And you know what sheeps get led. It's crazy for y'all to sit up and then when you talk to somebody that's a Christian and a Democrat and they start defending Joe Biden, look at their character. I bet it's somebody that cheats on their spouse. cheats on everything, lies consistently, evil, don't like their neighbors, bad mothers, you know what I mean, or fathers. Because in the face of this much wickedness, how can you be voiceless unless you're complicit?
Conversation. If you're President Biden and you're the White House, you cannot fall for this sham. Whenever you're asked about this particular story, you have to hit back, specifically outlining what's at stake, what Donald Trump has done, what House Republicans have not done, and you have to over and over and over again tell that story. You cannot be wasting time responding to these ridiculous questions and ridiculous stories over and over again.
I'm gonna show you another. I'm gonna get rid of this one. This one here, the bald head, bald face one, no mustache, no beard. Don't even look like he got eyebrows. Clearly a weirdo. But they sent him out because he got a black face. As if we can't see like it's really something wrong with you. What they got on you? Something gonna fall out your closet any minute. Don't he look like that? I know I'm bald, but you know, he on some extra shaving. I'm trying to find y'all girl, Joy Reid. Give me a minute.
Stay on top of your finances with the QuickBooks mobile app. View your money from anywhere and get deeper in.
But we begin tonight with a tale of two campaigns.
This is Joy Reid. And the crazy part about this is they keep pushing this tether from Guyana and somewhere else and keep pushing her out there like she really is connected to Black Americans, foundational Black Americans. These politics at this point have become sinister. I mean, real sinister. Look behind the veil. Look how they talk. All the threatening and fear-mongering and just the nasty way these politicians deal with each other. You wonder why the communities are at war. The communities look like battlegrounds. These are your leaders. And this is their spokesperson. Listen to her.
On Thursday, President Joe Biden was joined by two of his Democratic predecessors for a star-studded fundraiser at Radio City Music Hall that his campaign said brought in more than $26 million. Former Presidents Barack Obama and Bill Clinton joined Biden on stage, with Mindy Kaling hosting and Stephen Colbert moderating the conversation. It was a huge night, historic. And Hollywood showed up for the Democratic contender, which must have really gotten under Donald Trump's.
Do you think it surprises us that Hollywood showed up? You see how they try to play with our mind? Hollywood? Epstein them? Diddy them? You think we surprised that they didn't show up? Of course they gonna show up. That's their base.
Trump couldn't hack it in Hollywood, and he hates that Hollywood loves the Democrats, but especially Barack Obama. Last night, there were actual celebrities showing up for...
Not Mr. I'm not going to do nothing for Black people, and I'm not going to do nothing for the citizens. I'm just going to push a LGBT agenda to as far ends of the earth as I possibly can. For real, Barack Obama just need to go somewhere and hide out. You know what I mean? Because he still ain't dealt with what Tucker Carlson unveiled about him. I mean, they're trying it because they think that we're so dumb. Barack Obama comes out to help them raise money. We know who their constituents is. We know who actually supports y'all. And I'm surprised that you would come out and saying, because it's Hollywood, that makes it right. These people is weird.
Biden, instead of the fake D-listers who show up for Donald Trump, people like Vanilla Ice, who performed Ice Ice Baby. at Mar-a-Lago New Year's Eve, at a Mar-a-Lago New Year's Eve bash with a teenage mutant ninja turtle. Now, if that sounds like a 90s fever dream, it's because it is. Another one of Trump's fake celebs is what is his name? The guy on the left, the one on the left, the one who once threw shade at Beyonce, saying she didn't have a legendary song, that one. Well, he learned his lesson when the Beehive stung back. More on Beyonce later in the show, but I digress. So the Hollywood thing.
Now, in case y'all don't know, you ain't see how slick and racial she just was? That was Kid Rock. She knew that was Kid Rock before she pulled up. You don't think she cued the video? See how her video popped up on the screen? It's not like how I do, go on the phone and then flip it and show it to you or look at it over here. She already knew that was Kid Rock. She tried to play like, well, who is this guy? And Vanilla Ice. You think it's by coincidence that it's Kid Rock and Vanilla Ice that she attacked? Because they both white. And then she said he threw shade at Beyonce because Beyonce, in his mind, is not on the level of a Diana Ross or a Patti LaBelle type. You know what I mean? That's his opinion. But watch the dirty tricks. Listen to Joy Reid. Joy Reid is what the judge down there said about Fannie Willis. She is mendacious. Her mendacity is out cold.
Creates quite the contrast with Trump, right? But there was another important contrast as well. At last night's event, protesters heckled Biden over his policy in Gaza. Now listen, Biden has faced protests before, okay? This is now just a part of his life as a person campaigning for re-election, but with policies during his administration that part of his base deeply opposes. But you'll notice that he didn't respond with threats or rage, rather with compassion. Here's how he responded to pro-Palestinian protesters who interrupted his healthcare speech on Tuesday.
My coverage. Everybody deserves health care. They have a point. We need to get a lot more care into the Gaza.
Be patient with them, he said. They have a point, he said. And last night, when he was heckled over Gaza, he said, that's all right, let them go. While his former boss, Barack Obama, added that it is possible to have moral clarity and have deeply held beliefs, but still recognize that the world is complicated. Quite the contrast from the other guy, who opts for a more...
In layman's terms, she said, we know that y'all say y'all believe in the Bible. We know y'all say y'all Christians, but you got to compromise. Everything can't be taken literally. You know, Moses wasn't absolutely correct in his assumption of what the tenets of the faith was, and neither was Jesus. See, we're gonna improvise and update the Bible so it's more inclusive. And yet they wonder why Christians are offended. Well, like I said, this is Tuesday morning. I don't want to keep you guys. If there's any other newsworthy news, I'll podcast again later. As for right now, signing to you out of Detroit. This is Detroit's HPTV. Salute to all patriots. Stand strong. And keep y'all head on a swivel. Peace. Like, share, and subscribe.